Hello, my millions of followers or subscribers on YouTube. Um, this is my quarantine journal number two. Number two. Um, I don't have any new knives to show you today, but I just wanted to, you know, talk a little bit about my day because I had a weird, interesting, confusing, crazy day. Um, you I know most of you are kind of stuck in quarantine right now, which sucks. But if you are staying at home and you're eating your non-perishable food and wearing your mask and your rubber gloves when you go to the store and things like that, awesome. Please keep doing that because the more people that this the sooner everybody takes this COVID-19 thing seriously, the sooner it's all over, and I can't wait for it to be over. I miss my friends, I miss my family, um, but there are still people in this quarantine that are essential uh, workers, and one class of essential workers is social workers, caseworkers, people that serve homeless and disabled people in the city. In my case, the city of Philadelphia. There are thousands of people out there that don't have a home to shelter in place in. So people like me still have to go to work. And I just had an interesting day. I woke up pretty early for me, at least. Woke up at 6:30. Got to work on time. Got my breakfast, which is good. Don't always have time for that. And I was in my office maybe 15 minutes before one of my clients. Sorry, I'll. So I'm the service coordinator for a low income housing unit for homeless and disabled veterans in North Philadelphia. Um, and what that means is I'm part activities coordinator, part case manager. So I have about 38 clients. They all live in my building, so they have access to me from 8:30 till 4:30 most of the time. Sometimes I'm there later. Um, and one of my clients whom flipped out at me yesterday because I was doing my job. I asked him to make sure he pays his rent on time because it's the first of the month. They gotta pay their rent. Um, you know, um, and he snapped at me. He screamed at me, cursed at me. Um, you know, told me to go to hell. That kind of stuff. The run of the mill insults you get for doing your job, I guess. Um, but that same client came to me this morning, first thing in the morning, and said, "Hey, I need to apologize to you. I understand you were just doing your job. I'm getting frustrated and bored, just sitting in my apartment alone. You know, um, it's been a hard time. And I completely understand. First of all, I was blown away that he apologized. It's not something that's ever happened to me. I mean, I've been in this job for about a month, and so I can't say it's been a long time since somebody's apologized to me, but I wasn't expecting it, and it made me think people can surprise you when you least expect it. And so that started my day off really, really well, and I was already I was already excited about this day because today we had our first meeting. It was a recovery support group meeting, kind of like NA, Narcotics Anonymous, only with qualified specialists. Not me. I have fantastic coworkers that know so much more than me about substance abuse and how to treat it, and they have personal experience that they can draw from. So that was, it was a good start to a day that I was already excited about. The meeting went well. There was some high tension moments. People in recovery, they're all at different stages, and we're all people. So we're different in a trillion ways, and in that way, we're all so different that it's our biggest similarity is that we're all different. But the idea of the meeting was to be supportive and say, you know what, whatever point of your recovery you're at, I'm here to support you because I've been there, or I want to get to where you are. I'm not there yet, but I need you to help me. And seeing you at that point in your recovery, makes me feel like I can make it. So it was a really overall positive experience, and it was great. I had to unfortunately duck out of the meeting a little bit early. I had to take another client to the emergency room. We went to the nearest hospital, which is Temple Hospital. He just had something wrong with his eye. And in my experience being in the emergency room, that can take anywhere from an hour to 6 or 7 hours. So, by this time it was, 5 o'clock. I was ready to go home. So I, stopped by just to check on him, see if he'd been admitted, see if he was being seen by a doctor yet, that kind of thing, towards the end of my day. And, they told me he was being seen by a doctor, so great, he'll be out in the next 2 or 3 hours, so I left him a bus pass so we can get back to the building, and was ready to call it a day. And I was walking out of the emergency room doors, those sliding doors, and an amazing thing happened. Put simply, I saw somebody make a decision that ended up saving a life. I was walking out into the parking lot, and there was a woman in this trash heap of a car. She got out of the car, and I had my surgical mask and my rubber gloves on, so she must have thought I worked at the hospital. So she started yelling at me like, "Hey, my friend is in the front seat. She's not breathing. She's passed out. She's vomited all over herself." And I was like, "Oh, okay. What can I do to help? I thought at least I could help you, get somebody to help her. And she was like, "I'm gonna be honest with you. She took heroin. She did heroin, and I'm worried she's overdosed." And I this is my first experience with a heroin overdose. I mean, it's all over the news. You know, it's a real epidemic in Philadelphia, especially heroin. Um, but preparing for this new job that I have, I did a whole lot of research on heroin overdoses. Intravenous drugs in general. I did some research on, but focused on opioids, which heroin is an opioid. And the end all be all cure for an opioid overdose is what's called naloxone. The other name for it is Narcan, that you might know. It's a nasal spray that will literally bring back an overdosed person to life. Heroin slows your heart rate and brings your breathing down to near zero, which is what you die from. Naloxone or Narcan shocks you out of that rotation and allows your heart to start beating again, your lungs to start taking in oxygen, and it's saved hundreds of thousands of lives. It's literally a miracle drug. So I was blown away by the decision that her friend made. It's a story that we've all heard in our freshman year of college seminar. Kids don't bring their friend to the hospital for alcohol poisoning because they're afraid they're going to get in trouble for underage drinking. This woman had to make the same decision, and she made the right one. She could have been. I'm sure she was afraid that her friend was going to get in trouble for using heroin. She was going to get in trouble for using heroin. But she made the right choice, and because she made that choice, her friend is alive. I'm sure her friend is pissed, but she's alive. It's better than being dead. And I helped the woman out of her car. Tried to wake her up a little bit. She, like I said, she had vomit all over her. It was I don't think I'll ever forget that experience. Being there, and I'll never forget the feeling of awe with this woman that decided against her best interests to save her friend's life. And it's this heroin epidemic has never felt more real to me, because I've never experienced it. I've never had the urge to use heroin. I've never had a close friend that used heroin in front of me, at least. And it'll definitely stick with me. But it was scary, and my heart was racing for 20 minutes afterwards. But it had a happy ending, I guess. So yeah, that was just a couple of the highlights of my day. I really do feel for people that have to stay indoors, and I applaud you, because you're you're doing what you're supposed to do. But I feel bad. I would go crazy if I had to sit alone by myself, for this long. Um, my my girlfriend and my roommates, they all went back to their parents' house because, you know, me going to work every day and coming home was exposing them. So, they couldn't sufficiently self quarantine without being away from me. So, that's hard. Um, I I miss my girlfriend a lot. Um, but thankfully we have technology. I can video chat with them whenever I want. I had a Zoom family dinner on Friday. That was fun. But there are a few things that I think could be better about the world after this crisis passes, and it will pass. I have to believe that, and I do. It will pass. Um, but I think just on a, I mean, I'm not smart enough to give you a like political, economical forecast for the future, and I won't even try. But I at least hope that people remember this time, this period, this 3 months, the first 3 months of 2020 just absolutely sucking because we couldn't see our friends, we couldn't see our family, we couldn't hug our family. I mean, that's the worst part. Because I'm pretty sure there's a scientific research study that said human beings require physical affection, and that comes from hugging your mom or kissing the ones you love, and when you can't do that, it sucks. So I hope people remember that, and they when this passes, they cherish the time with the people that they love, and they remember to go out of their way to remind people that they love them. Um, you know, because as hard as this is for me, and as hard as I know it is for the rest of you, there are people out there that have no one, and I like to think that us as human beings are all connected in some way. We're all sharing the same big blue rock. So in that way, we're not alone. But that doesn't mean people don't feel it. You can absolutely. I mean, I haven't felt this way for a long time, but there was a time when I could feel completely alone in a room full of people. And, I think when you think about the people that are in your life that you couldn't live without, I challenge you just to think about the rest of the world for a few moments. Those people that have nothing, or the people that just have less than you. Not necessarily nothing, but just it's important to remember how fortunate you are when you're going through any struggle. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily fix the problem, but it might make you feel better like a little bit for a quick second, you know. And sometimes that's enough. Yeah. I don't remember if I wanted to talk about anything else. I think that's pretty much it. I'm gonna drink a beer, watch some cartoons, and start the whole day over again. You know. So here's hoping this crisis ends soon, and that at the very least we can leave better than we came. Yeah. So cheers. Happy quarantine, everybody.